This movie was banned for sexually explicit scenes and nudity, for gruesome and violent scenes, including hooking out internal organs out of a person, like an alive. The person is alive, not a corpse, and became so gruesome and so bad. Apparently, some members of the audience, when it was shown in the Venice Film Festival, they actually threw up and some of them passed out. Based on this, I know that many of you would want to see this movie just because that's how you roll, out of curiosity. So, but I had no prejudice when I watched this movie. It was recommended by one of you, and very little note, just a request to do like some sort of a review on it. The movie is about Hee Jin. She's a woman and she's mute, and she operates like some sort of a fishing resort. So there are different floating cottages which you can rent. So if you want to go on fishing, you can stay there for a day or you can stay there for a night. She will ferry you to and fro the floating cottage. And she also ferries sexual workers. So if there's somebody there, one of her customers wants a sexual worker, then she will contact somebody and will bring them a girl or girls. Now, she also sometimes prostitutes herself. So she seems very, very emotionless. She doesn't seem to mind what she was doing. It seems as though she was doing it just because she doesn't know what else to do. It was like a way for her to pass the time, until she meets Kim Yoo-sok, which was one of her customers, and they sort of the Kim Yoo-sok is actually running away from authorities. So suddenly the entrance of Kim Yoo-sok in her life sort of disturbed the peace and the routine that she was very much used to. So she had to face the struggle of trying to maintain the peace and the quiet that she knows she has, versus the chaos that this new guy brings into her life. So there's a lot of beautiful elements in there. I think the mere fact that they are using fishing is a huge metaphor to us as human beings. Like we always take the bait. We have needs, we have wants, and when that's dangled in front of us, we take the bait, but in the end it hooks us and it's going to kill us, and somebody else is going to eat us. But we know that's gonna happen, but there's just nothing we can do about it. You know, we're a pack of hungry wolves, and you dangle a meat in front of us and we're gonna run after that, even though we know danger faces us. So I think that's a big metaphor. I think the location that they used is absolutely beautiful. I know, however, of the director. Kim Ki-duk is the director of Mobius, which is just hands down one of the most gruesome and violent films I've ever seen in my entire life. I was screaming the entire time. And if you want access to that movie, it was actually a part of the 4 banned Asian movies post that I made. There should be a video card right now. Just click on that video card and you will see where to access that movie. So I've always been aware of his style. There's a lot of silence, there's not a lot of dialogues, and it doesn't take away from the effectiveness of the movie, from the beauty of the movie. If at all, it actually adds to that. It sort of brings me back to what movies are all about. Back in the day when sound was not possible, all directors and actors had to rely on their acting, on the cinematography, which are all part of the direction of and the vision of the director. They had to rely on that in order to deliver the message they want to deliver, and deliver the emotion that they want the audience to feel. So storytelling was not reliant on words, it was reliant on action. So that's one of the things that I like about him as a director. The movie is his movie, and you will feel it without having to hear anything. It's also very raw. Him as a director is also very raw. He's not very fond of glamorizing anything, whether it's an actress or an actor or the production itself. What you will see the beauty of the location as you would if you're there live. There's not a breakthrough camera work or some state-of-the-art color grading to make things beautiful. It is what it is. and it's beautiful. He relies solely on the raw beauty of his surroundings to create beautiful cinematography, which I appreciate. Now for the sex scenes. Quite honestly, I it is not as explicit. Sorry, it is not excessive. All the gruesome, violent, and sex scenes that you will see are necessary for you to see it, for you to understand what the movie is trying to say, and for you to understand the development of the narrative. I've seen worse. I've seen a lot more sex scenes in other movies that are too unnecessary. At some point, I actually forgot what I'm watching. It's just the sex scene and violence scene is it's just too long. In this movie, as gruesome as it may be, they're all necessary, and they're not half as bad as the ones that you will find in other movies. So it's everything is done perfectly in the perfect amount. If I would compare this to a dish, there's not a single ingredient an ounce out or an ounce more or an ounce less. If there is any disadvantage though, is that scene when one of the characters actually smack a dog. I'm a dog mom. I love my dog very much, and I just can't stand people hurting other animals just because they can't consent, they can't say no. And so I feel like don't impose something on somebody who has no ability to resist or to prohibit or to say no to it. So that was very, very hard for me to see, and the director actually admitted it was real. So would I recommend watching this movie? It really depends on whether or not you have the stomach for seeing somebody actually hurt an animal. Second, if you have the stomach for gruesomeness and for sexual scenes. So, but in terms of the narrative, in terms of the acting, in terms of the direction, minus that part about the animal, it's perfect. Put in that animal scene where somebody's hurting the dog, and that probably gives it minus 100 for me. But yeah, so that really depends on you. It just reminds me of this argument on art is supposedly for art's sake. Like, if you create something, it should be judged basically on itself with no prejudice towards social norms and anyone's rights. Art is an art and it serves itself. And this is just instances like this that makes me realize at the end of the day, in the creation of art, we still affect humanity, we still affect certain things in this world, and that's a perfect example. You hurt an animal, and yes, it added to the message of the movie, it added to the movie, but at the end of the day, that's a dog, it's an animal, and it gets hurt, and we shouldn't do that. But anyway, I'll leave it all up to you, your call, and that's it.